I want to do this kind of. I want to describe. I want to paint a picture. So, audience, imagine that you started a podcast with an internet friend, and then that internet friend was like, "Hey, I've got this brother. Let's kind of just bring him involved, and we'll do a little podcast." And that little twerp comes in there, and kind of adds a little Zoomer humor to it. And then you're 2 years down the line, you decide, okay, let's listen to some music. Let's get this, podcast thing going, some Christian music. Imagine John Lennon. That makes sense. He talks as pretty communist in there, talks about how there shouldn't be religion or heaven. Let me just click on this link, remind myself, I'm a Beatles man. I was raised a Beatles man. My father was a Beatles man. And then what
your
do I
hypothetical
see?
friend would be very excited, to have a conversation about this famously controversial Beatles song. And who should greet your friend but the smiling face of Gal Gadot? You piece of shit.
Glad I didn't watch it.
Welcome to Bible Boys, a podcast where two ex-evangelical siblings and an ex-Catholic non-sibling watch Christian media and either praise or condemn it. I'm Aaron.
I'm Josh.
I am God herself.
This week, we debate classy or controversial with our first installment of Christian-themed pop songs. Before we talk about music videos, please be sure to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, like and comment on our video, and follow us on Twitter at The Bible Boys. Do we want to set up why we wanted to do this unconventional episode?
I think it's kind of important to know that this idea's been rolling around for 6 to 8 months. Michael brings up this idea. I've also toyed around with musical episodes, but we kind of decided fuck it. Why not? This is a huge thing in Christian circles of taking a song that is popular and deciding that this is an easy thing to attack. So we all just kind of found some fun songs that have caused just touches of controversy. You might know a couple of these songs. Some of them are kind of... My picks are pretty indie. So we'll see how many of them you guys know.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I don't know that all of them are super controversial, but they're all at least vaguely religiously themed. So I do wanted to, we're going to touch on the religious themes in both the music videos and the, religious reaction to them. And I think it'll be an interesting conversation. So I think we're going to do Michael, me, Josh, and we're going to cycle through. We've got 9 songs here. But Michael, do you want to take us away?
Yeah, so I feel like this is the perfect song to start with, and the perfect music video to start with, because we are going to begin all of this with Madonna's Like a Prayer. It's kind of maybe the music video that sparked this whole thing, right? This idea of religious symbolism as a critique of societal problems is not new. Madonna did not invent it, but using music video and a pop song that's fun and it is religious in themed, right? Like a prayer, but she's describing a love like a prayer. I think my favorite thing about this is that Madonna really decided, okay, why don't we tackle religious imagery and racism?
I forgot that part. I know I've seen this music video, but it's been a minute. I'm your brother, so I know I've seen it.
Oh,
but,
no, it's not because you're my brother. It's because we share a mother. That's why we've
Yes.
both seen this.
I'm Stephanie's child. There's no real reason that I've seen this music video. But through it, I was all right, yeah. There are so many moments, specifically, this one has almost the most imagery about God, just kind of sprinkled in a quick jump scare of Christian imagery. My mind immediately goes to when she cuts both of her palms and just kind of shows it
yeah.
Like the other guy.
It's a stigmata. Y'all love that shit, right?
We're crazy about a stigmata.
Yeah, I mean, and then you have Madonna dancing in front of burning crosses. You have, a woman that is being murdered, and then a black man being arrested by the police. Madonna's like praying in front of a statue that's crying. She's sleeping on a pew. Like, this is such a religious song and video. It's really wild. Like, there's a statue of a saint that looks like the guy that she saw being wrongfully arrested. She does get the aforementioned stigmata. And then, you know, she's like singing and dancing with a like black gospel choir. This is heavy, but like in a way that I honestly, when I watched this, I was like, oh, how can you be mad at this unless you're racist?
Speaking of which, I have a very core memory of, I'll be vaguer about this than I wanted to, a family member of ours having a conversation with our mother about this song, because our mom brought it up. And then our mom, they were like, you know, it's such a, you know, sacrilegious song. It's so bad. How could they do that to God? And my mom went, it's good. And at that point, I was like, I respect you, Stephanie. Yeah, I was 4, so, you know.
It was that moment that she really became your mother.
Yes.
You know, and I love Madonna's answer to this. So the American Family Association was saying it was offensive. The Pope John Paul II said that Italian fans should boycott Madonna. And her answer was, art should be controversial, and that's all there is to it.
Oh, this is actually an interesting conversation as we go forward. I think almost all of these, a pope has decided, I need to touch on this. Let me make a quick statement. What are the priests doing? No. Madonna's singing again.
Yep.
I think that's less of a statement about these songs and more a statement about the Catholic Church wanting to fucking shoot itself in the foot at every opportunity.
Yeah,
they do take every opportunity to just stigmata themselves real quick.
Listen, on a religion that's primarily based on self-sacrifice, you gotta hurt yourself constantly. It's just, they can't help it.
It used to be like, you know, getting killed by Romans. Now it's getting an L+ ratio by a 12-year-old on Twitter.
Yeah, you know, like, what were you
gonna? It's a good song. Like, that's the thing that, like, I forgot this is a fucking bop. I also forgot how attractive Madonna was as a brunette. But that's just my own discovery.
I mean, this was the first time that I'd ever heard this song or seen Madonna when she was, you know, a little bit younger. Not that she's not attractive now, but I was like, oh yeah, she.
No. Back it up now, y'all. One hop this time. Aaron, what the fuck? You've never heard this song?
What do you think that, like, what do you want me to say? I didn't listen to Madonna. My parents were Beatles people.
Okay, so there are 2 types of families in this world: Beatles families and Madonna families. Which one are you?
Yes, that's my ideology, and I will hear no argument against it, especially when we talk about Imagine.
You know what? I am going to tweet that out right now from the account. Are you a Beatles family or a Madonna family?
What a buck wild excuse. You never accidentally watched Glee? Like,
I purposely watched Glee. Don't get me wrong. I was really into Glee in the early 2010s, but I never watched those episodes. I was
because
just
you're
really
a Beatles family.
Yes, because we're a Beatles family. It wasn't allowed to watch. We weren't allowed to. That's not even true. My mom actually loves Madonna. I just never ran into that song for some reason.
Oh my god. It's just... Okay. I think... So, I've heard all of these songs before because Michael is my brother. But I'm going to need to know from you, Aaron, how many of these songs as we go through you have not heard before.
I think
as surprises.
Oh no, this is the only one. I've heard.
Okay.
I've heard. The other ones are much more contemporary. I guess Imagine isn't, but whatever.
You spoiled that surprise there.
Well, I guess it's time for me to say that was the one video I refused to watch because I already watched it once and I will not watch it again.
Completely.
We're not even there yet.
Yeah.
Nope.
We'll get there.
So the last thing I want to say is Madonna kind of paved the way of mixing this, like, again, it's not new. She didn't invent, but she did pave it for like contemporary artists of mixing like the sexual and the religious in a way that is effortless. Um, and I think that is really incredible, as shown through all of my picks today. That's what I think is interesting with pop music and pop culture, intertwining the divine. Because, look, I shared with the boys last week my favorite gospel album, which is Chance the Rapper's album. And I couldn't pick a single Chance song to put on here because they're not controversial. They're all like legitimate praise songs. And I think that this is something so much more interesting because it really did spur a lot of controversy. But that's art.
I gotta stop learning Michael music facts live on this podcast.
Told you this before.
I never really sunk in.
No, Coloring Book is my favorite praise album.
We don't talk about our favorite praise albums often. I can't think of a better way to move from Madonna finally making religion sexy into Aaron's first pick.
Yeah, we had to do it to him. I had a lot of trouble coming up with controversial picks, which is why my last one's not really controversial. But like all the other ones, I was like, oh, it's all of Michael's picks are already on these lists of controversial songs, so I can't take them. But there is one that I had to do, and it is of course Billy Joel's "Only the Good Die Young," famously about his crush on a girl at a Catholic school. I don't know how do you all feel about Mr. Joel?
I'm not a fan. Not a huge fan of his good works. Vienna's good, and that's about it. I had never heard this song before because I don't like Billy Joel, so I kind of avoid it because my family's a Madonna family. But
obviously,
yeah.
But like I was listening to it, and this one didn't include a music video, so I was like, "What? No one's eating rosary, like." Nobody is, fucking the devil. So, like, let me just do a quick Google and look at them lyrics. Oh, my fucking God.
Come on, Virginia. Don't make me wait. You Catholic girls start much too late. Sooner or later it comes down to fate. You might as well be the one, right? That's what, there's also like there's a lot of references to Catholicism, right? You got a nice white dress and a party on your confirmation. And there's like something about hiding behind, stained glass curtains, like very explicitly about Catholicism. And whatever you feel about Mr. Joel, I think this is a fine song, and I think it has bad origins. So straight up, it was originally
got a bad finish.
This is 100% true. It was originally going to be a reggae song.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And his
Mr.
drummer
Joel.
was like, "Hey, what the fuck are you talking about? The closest you've ever been to Jamaica is when you changed trains in Queens." And just like, yeah, maybe not great, maybe not a great quote, but like, you know what? Maybe that slight racism prevented even greater racism. So like, the enemy are my enemy, right? But
Can we all just take a moment to we've been in the bad universe for at least 8 years now, and can we all just take a moment to be thankful? Just take a moment to pray and to be thankful that we did not get the reggae version of this song. And I'm just gonna say, one of my complaints about Billy Joel is a lot of his music sounds the same, and I think a lot of it just sounds like worse versions of the other ones. He was gonna go in a different direction, so maybe I need to change that criticism.
Yeah.
My opinion of Billy Joel is much more Olivia Rodrigo. I bet she knows Billy Joel because you let her listen to Uptown Girl. Like, come on. I love that Olivia's teaching all the youths about Billy Joel. I'm sure that she would be as upset as we are for that fact.
Yeah, it's bad.
That's very big for Billy. I'm just saying. So this is a big get.
this is controversial because, of course, the Catholic Archdiocese of Newark, New Jersey, banned it. The Seton Hall College college radio played the song, and because of their connections with the Archdiocese, they got it banned. They started getting the song banned in St. Louis and in Boston, and this, caused the song's popularity to skyrocket naturally, because that's how banning music works. And Joel himself said nobody would have heard it if they hadn't tried to cut people off from it. He even performed it on SNL, which, man, SNL's been around for a while, huh?
Just out of curiosity, I'm sure I know the answer, but I'm sure the Catholic Church was like, we're banning this because it's kind of weird to pressure a girl into sex. You need to take no as an answer, and that's the reason that we're banning this one, right? That they did the logical reason, right?
No, they just didn't like that it was about Catholicism.
Right. Aaron,
of course.
I'm just looking at your list real quick, and I'm not going to spoil any of them. Why are all of yours bad horny?
Because as this one straight person on the podcast, I need to represent my people.
This is why straight people don't deserve rights.
Jesus Christ, we did a whole podcast about how we liked your people, specifically nice straight guys.
Anyway. The truthful answer is I couldn't find any ones that weren't just and this video was all about getting murdered in a school. So I went with what I had. I didn't. There are actually some Catholic hymns that were controversial because their author is a predator, but I didn't want to bring that energy here. So
fair.
We're getting Billy Joel and my other two songs, but. We'll get there. Josh, do you want to go ahead with your first pick?
Yes, I want to do this kind of. I want to paint a picture. So, audience, imagine that you started a podcast with an internet friend, and then that internet friend was like, "Hey, I've got this brother. Let's kind of just bring him involved, and we'll do a little podcast." And that little twerp comes in there, and kind of adds a little Zoomer humor to it. And then you're 2 years down the line, you decide, okay, let's listen to some music. Let's get this, podcast thing going, some Christian music. Imagine John Lennon. That makes sense. He talks as pretty communist in there, talks about how there shouldn't be religion or heaven. Let me just click on this link, remind myself, I'm a Beatles man. I was raised a Beatles man. My father was a Beatles man. And then what
your hypothetical friend would be very excited, to have a conversation about this famously controversial Beatles song. And who should greet your friend but the smiling face of Gal Gadot? You piece of shit.
Glad I didn't watch it.
So, there was a moment, and it's in all of my best goofs, where my little finger was hovering over just a normal version of this song, and then what did my eyes do but float south?
I'm still laughing because it's the funniest thing. This is the funniest thing you've ever done.
And what's great is that this YouTube link is incomprehensible, so you get no information.
Nothing. I was completely caught unawares until I saw the 10 million dislikes on the video. A lot of the videos that we watch had a lot of dislikes. This one had the most.
Yeah,
with good reason.
I would explain why people hated this, but you all know. The reason I still want to cover the actual song itself, because it's a really communist song, and it's very interesting that it's so beloved, because it just outwardly says what if there was no God, no heaven, no money, no wars? Awesome. And a lot of people are like, hell yeah, Beatles, great, love God, love the Beatles. And I find that dichotomy so interesting. And I do know a decent amount of religious people have some disdain for this. Not too long after that video went around, there was another video of famous lyricist Ben Shapiro explaining why he hated the song right after he decided to read out WAP out loud. And, this still bugs some of the worst people. And I'm not a huge John Lennon fan, but if you can bug the worst people in the world, hell yes. I support it.
This has been a bad day for Aaron confessions, but I do also have a
Oh
Imagine-related confession.
no.
I'm really scared.
I
Do you
got in
cry?
like a semi argument with one of my friends in grade school about this song, because of the same reason that all the terrible people don't like the song, because it's like, what if there was no God? And I was like, that sounds like a terrible thing. I love Jesus. And my friend's like, but it would be all very peaceful if there was no religion. And I was like, I'm not willing to make that sacrifice. And he's like, all right, but
That might be the most Catholic thing you've ever said. Like, I recognize that might be true, but that's not a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
It's literally the Lord Farquaad. Now some of you may die.
Yeah. Anyway, people contain multitudes. Now I do this podcast, and he speculates on NFTs, so... The world is a strange place.
We're learning a lot about past us in this episode. That's what I'm really seeing here.
I don't like it.
Loving it, actually.
That's all I got to say about John Lennon. I had more to say, but then Aaron sent me an angry text message about 2 hours before we did the podcast, and I thought that was more important.
Well, I'm glad that we're done, because now, like with this next song, once we're done with this podcast, you'll believe God is a woman. I am so excited to talk about this one, and I have so much to say about it.
And now we wait as Michael pulls out his 87 pages of notes.
I do have a significant amount of notes for my next two choices. So God is a Woman is just like a great song. I think it's wonderful. But the video transcends. So it is frequently showing Ariana Grande as a divine figure, but also surrounded in like a painting, a candle, in a temple, all that are like very clearly vulva shaped. And when she's talking about God as a woman, she's like holding the universe in her womb. And I just love this. I love that Ariana Grande was like, I'm going to have a song where I basically say my pussy's so good that when we're done fucking, you're going to think God's a woman. And then made a video that was like, no, actually, God is a woman. God is not a man. He is a woman. And let's talk about her. And not only that, Ariana Grande got Madonna to read a version of Samuel L. Jackson's Ezekiel 25:17 from Pulp Fiction. And so I'm going to read you the original and then the version in God is a Woman, because it's very close to the version in Pulp Fiction. So the original is, and I will execute great vengeance upon them with furious rebukes, and they shall know that I am the Lord when I shall lay my vengeance upon them. But we get a great version of this from Madonna. I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger from those who attempt to poison and destroy my sisters, and you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon you. It's so badass that she got Madonna to do that.
Now, Michael, I do think that it's also important to note that while this is going on, she is holding what can only be described as a, like, hammer that you would see Amy from the Sonic franchise holding while threatening the camera. It's a fun little second there.
And then right after, she breaks the glass ceiling.
Yeah, I thought it was like a callback to that Apple 1984 commercial, but that makes more sense in retrospect.
It also is important to note when this came out, right? Like, it was 2017. So Ariana Grande is like, no, we're breaking the glass ceiling. A couple of other tidbits that I think are important. She is sitting on top of the world and fingering a hurricane. And it's just yet another, like, swirl of the divine and the sexual and nature in a way that is really beautifully done in this video. That's maybe one of my favorite stills from it. And so let's talk a little bit about the history of the gender of God.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go.
Aaron, I'm just gonna go ahead and delete the rest of your notes here.
Yeah, we'll come back in like an hour.
Have fun, Michael.
So, okay, when the two of you picture God, like the Christian God, whether or not you believe in them, what do you think?
The Monty Python guy. He's a painting and his mouth moves. Weird.
I've never seen Monty Python.
Jesus Christ.
Good choice. There's the Sistine Chapel God, obviously.
All right, so the one in this video, right?
Yes.
So I'm gonna drop a pic of that in the chat, and that'll also go up on our Twitter of Ariana's retelling of the creation of Adam. So what if I told you that depictions of God as a woman go back to the Bible?
That wouldn't surprise me too much. I mean, so much about what our image of God is, which has been like drastically shifted to the point where some people believe modern depictions of God are actually a better depiction of Odin. So, I mean, anything, I would believe anything at this point when it comes to God.
So this is actually coming from... Okay, I'm not convinced that my notes today are not written by an AI. Buckle up, boys. This is coming from the r-Christianity subreddit.
Oh, yeah. Word?
Are you playing a word bingo with us, trying to slip in, like, certain phrases?
Okay, now we're going to talk about Ronald Reagan.
The Jim Baker bucket. Let's just get them all out the way.
I have a drinking game with our audience, so I'm trying to get everyone wasted right now. So we begin in Genesis, where we mention that humans, male and female, are created in God's image. So this is stating something very simple, that when God made humans, female and male, they were made in their image. But beyond that, Hosea loves talking about God as a mother. So Hosea, when they're talking about God in book, it's chapter 11, verse 3 and 4. I was to them like those who lift infants to their cheeks. I bent down to them and fed them. So it was like a very clear, like, nursing. Also, God is described later in the book as a mother bear. Like a bear robbed of her cubs, I will attack them and tear them asunder. Deuteronomy describes God as a mother eagle. Like the eagle that stirs up in its nest and hovers over its young, God spreads wings to catch you and carries you.
Michael, I just want to say real quick that is an amazing Facebook ad for a shirt that, like, wine moms would buy. Like, that whole thing, way too long.
We also...
Do you all not have the song Eagle's Wings?
Sir?
Never mind. Keep
going. We also have Deuteronomy, where God is giving birth, so mentioning the God who gave you birth. God as a mother who comforts her child, so I will comfort you, in Isaiah. God, can a woman forget her nursing child or show no compassion for the woman, for the child of her womb? Even those that may forget, I will never forget you. Isaiah also mentions God as a woman in labor. So I will cry out like a woman in labor. I will gasp and pant. This is like talking about God's love for their child. Like a weaned child with its mother, my soul is like the weaned child that is with me. That's Psalm. So, like, this goes way back, but then it's not just Old Testament. Jesus actually uses a lot of feminine imagery for God as well. So Matthew and Luke both describe God as a mother hen with Jesus, so they relay that information. How I have desired to gather your children together as a hen gathers her brood under her wings, and you are not willing. So that is all biblical. And this kind of stuck around for quite a while. So one of the it's Saint Anselm, the Archbishop of Canterbury, talked of Christ my mother. And in a 14th century book, Revelations of Divine Love, Julian of Norwich says, just as God is our father, God is also our mother. So this is not all that new. God being kind of a, non-binary icon goes back to the Bible.
Hell yeah, finally, I'm tilting the scales on this podcast, because as we all know, God is the fifth Bible boy. It's Aaron, Michael, Licinius, me, God.
I like that you're the fourth.
I know where I know where I stand.
So yeah, like I think that what Ariana does is really cool here. I think that this is super well done, and I also think it has its basis in history, right? Like, and pointed out was this actually goes against some Catholic teaching, which says God is neither man nor woman. He is God. And it's like, okay, got it. Go fuck yourself, but I got it.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, like,
man.
that tracks, though. Like, I think, as much as I remember my Catholic education, like, God's gender is never really specified. Like, we are taught to see as God as a gender. It's just that we do use that, masculine language to describe God.
Mm-hmm.
He is the Lord and, our Father. So, like, it's like, of course God isn't, of course God doesn't have a gender. We just always portray him as a man.
Much like very kind people in my life, they'll be like, yeah, he's non-binary. He uses some pronouns other than he, him. He does it. Him. That guy. The man. I also want to point out, it's a bit strange because at least our fun little branch of Protestantism was like, no, it's an actual man with a penis. Mm-hmm. And he's up there in the sky. It's a guy. God is dude, man.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
And also, just going to throw this in there real quick, it's a okay song. It's No Dangerous Woman.
I'm with Josh. Anyway.
What's it like to be so wrong?
Let's get to the horniest song on this.
Mine's so this next one is actually very funny. It's I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. We're doing our Christmas episode a little bit late, but here's the thing, right? We all know, if you grew up in America, I saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus underneath the mistletoe, last night. This song also got banned by the Catholic Church, because this is going to be from Ryan Menez's Cracked article. Basically, the author of the song, Jimmy Boyd, wrote the song. And again, Archdiocese of Boston jumped in there, and they condemned the song on the grounds that it implied a link between kissing and Christmas. The church objected to implying even a tenuous link between sex and the religious holiday.
Whoa, y'all kiss during Christmas?
So here's the thing. Jimmy Boyd actually had to go and meet with the leaders of the Catholic Diocese of Boston and explain to them that it's not Santa Claus that mom is kissing, it's the father of the child in the song kissing his mom. So it's monogamous. They're married. So he had to go and explain the fucking joke to the goddamn archbishop. They're like, okay, it's fine then. You're fine. This is 100%
That's
true.
so sad.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh my god.
A longtime nemesis of the podcast, Archdiocese of Boston, just really doing what they always do.
Doing whatever the opposite of the Lord's work is.
Yeah. But that was my only other controversial song.
Now for the actual horniest song on this list. Take Me to Church by Hozier. I adore Hozier, partially because of who my girlfriend is, but also partially because I think he's an amazing artist. And there's so much I could talk about. There's so much Christian imagery within this song. It's a song about sex using religious imagery within the lyrics. The entire music video is a really like heart-wrenching black and white short film about gay lovers trying to escape persecution. It was made in 2013, and back then Hozier got really excited because it broke 100,000 views. It currently has 500 million. But I don't want to talk about any of that because I found this article and it's fucking amazing, and I want to guide you guys through it. This is what even fucking website? I don't even know. The article is Take Me to Church, Lyrics and Meaning, a Christian Analyst and Critique. So it lays out the entire lyrics of the song, and every time that he says church, heaven, anything religious, in red text in parentheses, they go, this has to do with God. This has to do with religion. It's so lazy. But every time it says "Take me to church," it says, "Remember, church here is a sexual reference in the song." Sure thing, man. If that's what you want to go
Sure.
for.
Yeah, I didn't realize fucking Paul Joseph Watson was doing critical analysis of Hozier songs now.
But I need to read you this first line after the analysis. What's amazing about this song is that it's about as offensive as anything produced by Marilyn Manson, Judas Priest, or Slayer, yet hardly anyone recognizes it. It takes rich Catholic sacramental language and re-signifies the imagery as the sexual encounter, and that's the so-called genius of the song.
A Catholic wrote this, clearly.
And then another great line, which I think we should turn into a button: overt Satanism is out of style. Which, if you need to say it...
Sir, I got bad news for you about Josh's final pick.
Oh, the line before that is, your son will not likely consecrate his body to Lucifer and baptize him in goat's blood. Because y'all remember when that was going on? Like back in the 80s.
Catholics love to invent a guy to get mad at.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I'm just gonna... So one of the reasons I picked this song is because one of my friends who was raised Catholic told me that their mom loves this song because she thinks it's religious. Which is another running gag of Catholics just kind of whiffing. Just take it, it's a bit of a miss.
The author is dead. It means whatever you want it to mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, they played Megalovania in front of the Pope earlier this year. Meaning is dead. We can mean whatever our songs want to be. We can just say that they mean that.
She tells me, worship in the bedroom. It's time married couples read Bibles together in bed again.
So true. my local youth group pastor is always saying this. Did I ever tell you all how there was like a big speaker at my Catholic high school that like gave us a big talk about how not using condoms was sexy?
So you had a breeding kink guy come in there?
Anyway.
I had to.
The last thing, I'm just going to read this last little bit. I know it's a catchy song. There's part of me that likes it. But seriously, this is probably one of the most sacramental songs ever popularized. And it sacramentalizes the wrong values. That's my 2 cents. Godspeed, Taylor. I have no idea what that means. Unless Hozier's name's Taylor.
Did they mean sacrilegious?
They might have. Also remember, I'm bad at reading. Got to keep that in mind. No, his name's Andrew. Who the fuck is Taylor? But yeah, that's Take Me to Church, Hozier. I think my favorite song on here. Second favorite song. But Buck Wild. Take it away, Michael.
All right, so we're going to get to my favorite song on this list, but we have to do some history first. So we are going to start with a song that came out all the way back in 2009 from a certain Miss Lady Gaga, Alejandro. So this was on the Fame Monster. And the video of this is like honestly way more of a like cabaret themed music video. Like there's some Joan of Arc references, but really the thing everyone remembers is the scene where Lady Gaga is dressed as a nun in like high fashion, eating a rosary. And this made people lose their fucking mind. Like, everyone was starting to instantly compare it to Like a Prayer. And I think that's kind of wild because it's just kind of one scene. Like, and a lot of people kind of agreed with me about this. So there was actually oh, who is it? So James Montgomery of MTV News said, just to say, oh, because it's black and white and she has a bowl haircut at one point, it's Madonna. That's sort of selling their vision short. I agree. Like, I don't find this particularly Madonna style, like, inspired. It is really way more inspired by Cabaret. Like, if you've seen Cabaret, you know that this is that. But this pissed off a very, very frequent enemy of the pod, the Catholic League. So they disagreed with me. They hated this. They said Lady Gaga is, quote, playing a Madonna copycat, saying that it courts religious controversy in the same way that Like a Prayer once did. And I think it's pretty wild. So the director said that it really was a battle between light and dark in this. And so at the end, she's in her nun's habit again, that she's withdrawing her senses from the world of evil and going inward towards prayer and contemplation. Also saying that her eating the rosary was actually like the whole consuming the body of God, the rosary being a symbol of the holy.
Catholics fucking drink blood and eat flesh every fucking week, so get off our fucking jocks.
It's different. It's different. Rosary is not the body and blood of Christ. I have to side with the Catholic League here.
Burner at the burner at the stake.
So that courted controversy. I mean, everyone from the New York Times to Katy Perry was commenting on this.
I remember Katy Perry.
Katy, what are you doing here?
Didn't she call it like a fart joke?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like, this is the same as a comedian making a fart joke. And I'm like, enjoy American Idol.
Right, like, come on. Let's just all calm down. Well, a few years later, let's fast forward to 2011, when Born This Way was released. And there was this cute little song that premiered on April 15th. Would you like to know what day the music video actually went online?
Sounds like probably Good Friday.
Easter Sunday.
Oh, excellent. Even better.
So we are, of course, talking about Judas, which is like Jesus Christ Superstar on motorcycles. It is incredible. We get Botticelli's Birth of Venus. We get The Eye of Horus. We get A Sacred Heart. We get Gaga pointing towards Peter during the line, build a house. We get washing of feet. Lady Gaga is playing Mary Magdalene. She is having a romance with Jesus. It is incredible.
You're missing one important part. One important part, and I'm going to let Aaron take this away.
The man who plays Judas Iscariot is none other than star of Death Stranding, Norman Reedus. It's so good.
Man who loves to walk.
It fucking slaps. I just lost my shit. I was like, oh my god, it's Norman.
I loved it. And So this video gained so much traction that before it released, the president of the Catholic League was already criticizing it and criticizing that Lady Gaga was playing Mary Magdalene. So he said that she was, quote, increasingly irrelevant compared to people with, quote, real talent. Lady Gaga was just unbothered by it. So she said the only controversial thing about this video is I'm wearing Christian Lacroix and Chanel in the same frame. And I love it. I love it. It's fucking wild. There's nothing better than Lady Gaga just being like, fuck it, I'm doing what I want. I'm gonna be Mary Magdalene. I'm gonna have a romance with Jesus. And everyone like shitting themselves over it. It is incredible. I find the portrayal of Jesus really sexy. I find Lady Gaga really sexy. Like, this is just everything I like in my religious controversy in one. And that's why I wanted to end my picks with this one.
Yeah, of all the music videos we watched today, this is the one that made me feel like, I guess, the way an ant feels when somebody draws a circle around them. Like, I don't think I'm on the right plane of existence to understand this video fully, but I was like, something is happening here. I feel it in my gut. I just don't. I'm not involved enough yet. But it's a fucking banger. The iconography is off the charts.
I think this is probably my... I got like a little notification, I don't know if you guys get this on YouTube, where it said this is the 15th millionth time you've ever watched this music video. And I was like, oh, cool, it's fun for the podcast. So I know every scene so vividly, and I don't know why it's this music video specifically, but like, it is in my brain. Lady Gaga's hot, y'all.
Lady Gaga's attractive woman. Yeah.
Ready to bring down the mood, Aaron?
Yeah, before we, this is
I
my non-controversial
wanted to end
song,
with my...
but it is a sad one. So, y'all remember, 2017?
No.
That's fair. I don't think anybody remembers 2017 at this point,
to.
But, famously, this is the time that Kesha was in this legal battle with one of her like managers or producers,
with Dr. Luke,
who abused and assaulted her, like just a real piece of shit. And this album and this song is released after she is no longer contractually obligated to work with that man, and like this song "Praying" like became kind of like an anthem for the Me Too movement in some ways. But basically it is a song that like opens with like Lady Gaga like talking about how depressed and sad she is, and like how she doesn't know how she can go on, and she's like floating on this lake and like in like a cross position. The music video goes on, there's like people in pig masks like chasing her. But it like culminates with her climbing this mountain, which is actually an art sculpture called Salvation Mountain, which was built by a Korean War veteran in Imperial County, California, which like basically follows it's thematically about the sinner's prayer, which is like a famous I guess Baptist evangelical concept. But basically it's just like I'm a sinner, and only through God can I be made whole. But like this, song, uses like a good amount of religious imagery, but like this is like kind of direct opposite, because all of the criticism that I'm reading of this is like, I read some criticism in like a Catholic website that was very pro this song. Very, very like, there are themes of, forgiveness and, despite everything that went on, this is a song that is widely read, and, Kesha herself has said this is about, her own struggles, but it's widely read as her addressing it to this man who abused her. And she even wrote in a letter for Lenny, basically like, for me, God is not a bearded man sitting in the clouds or a judgmental, homophobic tyrant waiting to send everyone to eternal damnation. God is nature and space and energy and the universe. My own interpretation of spirituality isn't important because we all have our own. What matters is that I have something greater than me as an individual that helps bring me peace. And it's just like a really beautiful song. I hope you find your peace falling on your knees praying. Like, it is about the, suffering that we, sometimes endure at the hands of others, and what, her own interpretation of why it is important to, even in spite of the suffering and pain that you've gone through, try to find some forgiveness and meaning in that. And, I think it's a very interesting thing, that Kesha wrote this very powerful anthem that had, all this, personal meaning to her, and was widely read as, having a lot of meaning to other people too. It's a good song. She closes out that letter, is with the words, one thing that has brought me great relief is praying for those people. Being angry and resentful will do nothing but increase your own stress and anxiety, and hate is the fuel that grows the viruses. Don't let anyone steal your happiness, which is like pretty profound for somebody who had endured, a lot of abuse and suffering. So, it's a great song. I thought it was, very, very powerful and meaningful.
I'm gonna bring down the mood.
We're already so low.
I know. So this song and this album was still produced under Dr. Luke's label because the judge ruled that she can't get out of the contract. So Rainbow was actually the third of 5 albums that she's contractually obliged to produce. In 2020, High Road became the 4th out of 5. It's kind of come from a place of, I am an artist that still wants to create. This is how, I survive, and that's what I'm doing. So Kesha, in fact, Sony was like, we don't love this whole Dr. Luke controversy. We're cutting you. But the contract is written in such a way that she's contractually obliged to Dr. Luke, not to Sony.
Jesus Christ.
It's still ongoing. Like, there's still like court battles about this. But yeah. I'm a big Kesha fan, so like that's actually not even something I've researched. That
was just off the dome. Yeah.
It's just a fun Michael sad fact.
I do have some positive facts about this. This song does, in fact, reference a religious work for me. This song heavily was inspired and pays homage to Beyonce's visual album Lemonade.
Huh, yeah, I can see it.
Multiple times in multiple ways. In fact, including the dress is almost the exact same outline as Beyonce's in the Hold Up portion. And the speech at the beginning is pretty similar to Pray You Catch Me.
Guarantee at some point Michael will have us listen to that and somehow rope it into it being about God.
I am gonna find a fucking way. I almost included a song from there, but it was just a little too tangential. I played very textualist with my rules here.
Listeners, if you want us to have a outlet for Michael's strange off-topic pop culture analysis, perhaps tell your friends so we can justify starting a Patreon, and then we could just put Michael in his own separate feed, and we can actually talk about Christianity on the show.
Aaron and I will start our history podcast. Michael will talk to the world about feminist history. Everything will be great.
Will be wonderful.
You guys ready to end it with slightly more uplifting and the best song on this list?
Disagree about that last fact, but only barely.
It's a very good song, and I will say 100% the most sacrilegious. Like, I think, the Judas stuff, like, okay, that's a little bit sacrilegious, But this one, 100% is just going for it, and I'm very excited.
Judas is painted in Sacrilegion. This is dipped, and then the Sacrilegion is poured on top of it again. This is like they doubled down. This is Montero by Lil Nas X, and Montero, Call Me by Your Name. This song's a fucking bop. And if you've somehow escaped the music video, or you don't know who Lil Nas X is, I'll give you just a brief rundown. So Lil Nas X released Old Town Road out of nowhere, became a giant hit. People he would not expect to like the song loved the song, and then after everyone called him a one-hit wonder, he was like, "No, I'm making other stuff. Give me a fucking minute, y'all." And then he released this song and a music video, and it just fucking turned the world upside down for a couple weeks. There are countless videos on YouTube of people with almost cartoonish Southern accents yelling about how they are so upset the man who wrote that awesome song about going with the horse and he's riding it, and he's a Satan song. He tricked us. Which, again, anytime you make the people I dislike angry, I gotta respect it. This song is about Lil Nas X coming out. It's about him coming to grips with his sexuality. I mean, the name itself, Call Me By Your Name, is based off of the 2017 movie, I think with the same name.
Which was also a book first.
A book, right. Where I think something happens with a peach. I don't know too much. But
we don't have time to talk about the fucking peach.
No, yeah. Yep, I read that Wikipedia page. Anyway.
But this song immediately begins with like a image of the Garden of Eden, where you have Lil Nas X just kind of hanging out. By the way, every character is Lil Nas X, and I'm not going to keep saying that. Every character is Lil Nas X. And then Satan, as a snake, comes and tempts him by licking his tum-tum. And then we get like a little flash on a tree. Aaron, you've got this out on the notes. What the fuck is this?
So I took one course in classical history in college, and I did have to learn the Greek alphabet for that. So I spent about 5 minutes trying to translate it from my very limited knowledge of the Greek alphabet, and then I just Googled an article that had it translated already. But basically, this is actually from, I want to say, I don't know if it's Plato or the guy who came after Plato.
Aristotle.
I think it might be Aristotle. I'll put the link in the show notes, but it's from this discourse. But the text says, after the division, the two parts of man, each desiring his other half, which is, it's a philosophical thing, but it's very clearly got homoerotic undertones.
And then the music video goes to Lil Nas X being led into like a council of other Lil Nas X's due to his crimes of being gay. And then we get the most iconic part, which is him, being floated into heaven. He looks up and sees an angel. And what's this? A rumble from beneath. A pole rises through the air, and he dances down the pole, deciding not to go to heaven, and falls into hell, where he gives Satan, also himself, a lap dance before killing Satan and becoming the ruler of hell. It's awesome.
Yeah, like, all these other religious, sacrilegious videos are like, oh, yeah, this is maybe going to piss off the Catholics a little bit. This is, like, an all-time, like, transgressive move, just like, I'm going to fuck Satan and kill him. Like, it's right, you can tell that this is very much a Gen Z artist. Lil Nas X is so different from all the other artists we've talked about in so many ways. Not only is he, I don't know if we have any other black artists on our list, but he is, a young black queer man making this art and is like, nope, this is the future now. What's up? And it kicks ass.
And this might be because I absolutely adore his Zoomer humor. He is also very close to my age. So there's a lot of stuff that he'll talk about. And I don't know, I can relate to it as a younger gay guy. And that might be why I just fell in love with this music video. But he began it with Satan trying to fuck him. And then he ends it with trying to fuck Satan. That's beautiful. That's poetry. Aaron, you're a writer. That's in, the hero's journey, right? Which part?
Return to the place you began. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's one specifically about fucking Satan, though. I remember this.
Yeah. That's in Campbell's DLC.
Campbell's second book. And you might be thinking, like, yeah, man, that's a lot. Any Wikipedia article that has a section called Satan's Shoes, you know we're getting into it. So after this came out, he released a line of shoes that he was not partnered with Nike, and they were adorned with pentagrams and inverted crosses, and they contained blood, which is awesome. And they were priced over $1,000. They sold out in a minute, and then they got a little bit sued. But I think by the time they were sued, all the shoes had been shipped out, which is very, very fucking funny.
Mm-hmm. I mean, my favorite thing about this is maybe something a little different. I love how gay this song and video is. Homosexuality and hip hop have had a fraught history, and the fact that Lil Nas so effortlessly blends the two just by nature of who he is so incredible. Like, I don't know, in the same way that you vibe with this so much, like, I feel in a lot of ways this is like maybe one of the first times I could relate to a male artist. There's this like big thing in the queer community. We all tend to relate to female artists because there's this like transgressive sexuality where it's like more aggressive than what's deemed appropriate for a woman, in that like she's in charge of her sexuality. Think you're like Britney Spears, you're Madonna, you're Lady Gaga. It's all of those people, right? But Lil Nas also has those, and I'm sorry, the line "I'll shoot a child in your mouth while I'm riding" is so fucking good, and I just love that he put that in here.
I mean, right before it, he says, "I want that jet lag from fucking and flying." Like, this entire song's just great. I love this song, and it made so many people so fucking angry. I thought they were gonna do Satanic Panic too. I mean, they keep trying, but I don't know.
That's QAnon.
Yeah. I look at this and I just see like this is fucking hilarious to me. This is really funny because I knew how many people would piss off, and it's just so, I don't know, it's so nothing. Like this, I don't get how people are offended by this, because he kills the devil. What, you like the devil? You want the devil to live? Come on, y'all. I actually think, and this is wild, like if I was religious, this would be the least controversial in my mind, behind praying, sorry. He does nothing like saying like, Jesus, I mean, he does go to hell on purpose. Never mind, I take it back.
And does give the devil a lap dance.
To kill him, he infiltrates the devil. If you're
to
not
take
willing,
his place.
If you're not willing to fuck the devil to kill him, you're not a true Christian, and I stand by that.
Oh my god.
And with that, perhaps we should rate our songs today.
I'm going to give this one what must be incredibly sore thighs from heaven to hell.
Yeah, that's a long pole ride.
Yeah.
I'll give this the 7th on this Deadspin list. John Paul II, not only because I thought we had mostly good songs, but also apparently John Paul didn't like one of these songs, which is very funny to me.
I, of course, am going to give this a Category 5 Vagina Hurricane. I think this is great. And, you know, it is truly a act of God that all of these songs were made.
Please call your doctor if your vagina is still spinning at 300-mile-per-hour winds.
Don't. Enjoy yourself.
Great. This was an interesting episode. I'm glad we did it. Listeners, if you thought it was cool, maybe tweet at us or, just let us know what you thought. Do we all know what we're doing next week?
Absolutely no idea.
Know what I'm doing tomorrow.
That's okay. We'll figure it out, I suppose. In the meantime, when we are not comparing anatomy to natural disasters, where can people find us on the internet?
I'm at Green History on Twitter, considering writing a piece way too long on why How I Met Your Father is very bad.
So wild.
Cannot wait for that.
I'm at Michael's Diamonds on Twitter. You're not going to catch me writing anything long right now because I'm also a full-time student and a full-time employee.
Yeah, if you do believe in prayer, perhaps light a couple of candles for Michael. If you want to find where I'm at Aaron SXL on Twitter, where I tweet about tabletop RPGs and health policy. I also wrote an essay about the Book of Boba Fett and why I don't like how they call him a daimyo in it, and how maybe they could have, made it a little bit different. Other than that, I like the show. I'm also probably going to release an episode, or not an episode, a review of the tabletop RPG Our Farm Becomes the Battlefield sometime this week, so look out for that. I do another podcast with my friend Layla. It's called Mortified. It's at Mortified Pod. We talked about the anime Yasuke, which was weird and interesting. Unfortunately, it didn't quite stick the landing. But if you're interested in figuring out why, check us out there. And yeah, I think that's all my plugs. Well, listeners, if like me, you cried about just some of the abominable choices that particularly Josh made today, remember that it is okay to cry because even Jesus wept. We'll see you all next time.